Do you ever feel like someone is looking at you a little too long, but in the best way possible? Like there's a kind of energy in the air that pulls your attention back to them every time? It's subtle, but it's undeniable. That's not just eye contact, it's intentional eye contact. And when a woman is truly interested in you, especially in a deeper, more intimate way, that's often where it starts. See, eye contact isn't just about seeing someone, it's about connecting. And when a woman wants to sleep with you, that connection intensifies in ways that are impossible to ignore if you're paying attention. Most men miss it because they're too focused on the words, but a lot of communication doesn't happen verbally. It's silent, it's instinctive, and it's powerful. So what does that look like? She doesn't just glance at you, she lingers. Her eyes hold yours just a second longer than most people would in a casual setting. And it's not the kind of gaze that makes you uncomfortable or nervous. It's the kind that makes your heartbeat change a little. It's soft, engaged, curious. She's not looking through you, she's looking into you. And the longer that contact holds, the louder it speaks. And here's the real giveaway. Her eyes don't just stay locked on yours. They wander, not in a distracted way, but in an exploratory one. Her gaze may drop to your mouth while you're speaking, just for a second, then back up. It might hover around your jawline or your hands. She's noticing you, really noticing you. That's not accidental. That's attraction in motion. And when she's looking at your lips, especially more than once, that's a powerful nonverbal cue that her mind is wandering toward intimacy. Now, of course, you have to take this in context. Not every woman who looks at your lips wants to jump into bed. But when it's paired with that lingering stare, when there's a rhythm to it, a softness, a kind of magnetic pull that seems to make the space between you a little more charged, then you're seeing something more, something intentional, something very human. Sometimes it starts across the room. You lock eyes for a second, she looks away. Then a few minutes later, it happens again. Maybe she's in conversation with someone else, but somehow her eyes find their way back to you. That's not just about eye contact anymore. That's about signaling. And signals like that, repeated, deliberate, almost playful, are her way of opening a door. You see, for a lot of women, desire doesn't always begin with bold moves or overt advances. It begins with subtle invitations. Eye contact is often the first one. It's safe, it's quiet, it gives her space to express interest while still letting you make the next move. So if you're smart, you don't just return the look and smile, you read the temperature of that gaze. You feel whether it's shy, flirty, or intense, because each kind of eye contact says something slightly different. Now let me make something clear. There's a big difference between confidence and creepiness when it comes to eye contact. If she holds your gaze, lets her eyes soften, maybe even smiles while doing it, that's comfort. That's confidence. But if she avoids your gaze, glances around, or looks past you often, she's likely not in that space with you. Respect that. Always. But when she does hold that gaze, especially in quieter moments, it's as if the conversation moves to a different level. You're not just talking anymore, you're feeling each other out in a way that's deeper than words. And if you're attuned, you'll feel it too, the tension, the pull, the way time seems to pause for just a second. Now let's say you're sitting next to each other, maybe at a lounge or a dinner or even in a car. She looks at you as you're talking, but not just politely. She watches your mouth when you speak. She nods slowly. Her eyes don't flinch when you meet hers. That's not friendship energy. That's chemistry unfolding in real time. And sometimes she won't even say much. But her eyes will do all the work. They'll tell you everything you need to know if you're present enough to read them. Remember this, a woman's eyes are her first language when it comes to intimacy. Before touch, before words, before anything physical happens, her eyes tell you whether she's drawn to you, whether she feels safe, excited, and curious. And when that happens, when the energy is mutual and the gaze lingers long enough to make silence feel charged instead of awkward, you're not imagining it. That's real. Don't underestimate what a few seconds of honest, connected eye contact can reveal. When it's there and it's repeated and it's intentional, it's never just about looking, it's always about inviting. There's something powerful about the way someone positions their body around you. It speaks before they ever open their mouth. And when a woman is interested in something more than just conversation, she won't always say it directly, but her body will start to make that statement for her, especially through the way she moves closer, the way she touches, the way she physically places herself in your space without needing to say a word. Now, I want you to think about this. When people feel emotionally safe and attracted to someone, they naturally decrease the physical distance. It's instinctive. When a woman wants to sleep with you, one of the most telling signs is how she breaks those physical barriers. She won't sit stiffly across the room with her arms crossed. She'll lean in. She'll find little ways to be near you, to close that gap, and to share space with you in a way that feels almost effortless. Watch how she reacts when you're next to her. Does she move her body to face you fully? Do her knees or shoulders angle toward you, even in a group setting? These aren't random movements. They're often subtle invitations, little cues saying, I feel good around you. I want to be closer to you. And then there's touch. That's the big one. It doesn't have to be intense or obvious. In fact, the smaller the touch, the more telling it often is. If she gently places her hand on your arm when laughing, or brushes something off your shirt, or lets her fingers graze yours while handing you a drink, those touches are rarely accidental. They're soft, they're exploratory, and they're loaded with intention. It's testing the chemistry, testing how you respond, testing how it feels to make that physical connection without making it a big deal. Pay attention to how often it happens. Once might be nothing, but when she consistently finds reasons to touch you, when her hand lingers just a little longer than it needs to, she's not just being friendly. That's her way of saying, I'm comfortable here. I want more connection. And if those touches are combined with other signals like eye contact, that playful energy in conversation, you've moved past casual territory. You'll also notice she won't flinch when you touch her in return. If you brush her shoulder or lightly place your hand on her lower back while walking together and she relaxes into it rather than pulling away, that response matters. Comfort with physical contact is one of the clearest, most honest signs of mutual desire. When a woman's body language is open, fluid, and unguarded around you, it's because she feels something she's not resisting. In more intimate settings, like sitting side by side on a couch or walking closely down the street, does she bump into you on purpose? Does she playfully nudge you or let her leg rest against yours? These are not accidents. They're moments of physical connection disguised as play, and they're often the bridge between casual comfort and escalating intimacy. Another thing to look for, does she remove barriers between you? When a woman is closed off or uninterested, you'll see things like crossed arms, purses placed between her and you, or a leaning away posture. But when she's attracted and open to more, those barriers come down. She might lean toward you, rest her hand on your knee, or sit so close your thighs touch. She's not just allowing your presence, she's inviting it. And don't mistake boldness for the only clue. Some women are more reserved, but even then, the body finds ways to express desire. A shy woman might not initiate touch, but if she allows and welcomes it, that's her version of a yes. The energy in how she carries herself around you will shift. She'll become softer, more relaxed, more attuned to your movements. You'll feel it. It won't be loud, but it'll be there. The truth is, touch is one of the most ancient forms of connection. Before language, there was contact. And when a woman uses that tool deliberately, when she chooses to engage physically, however subtly, it's because she feels safe, she feels desire, and she's trying to communicate both without putting it into words. So when you're around her and you start to notice that her presence feels warm, that she's reaching for you in little ways, that her body is saying yes, even if her words haven't yet, you need to pay attention. Because in that moment, she's not just being friendly. She's letting her guard down. She's letting you in. You ever notice how some conversations just feel different? Like they're not about the words at all. They're about the energy underneath them. When a woman is genuinely attracted to you and thinking about the possibility of something more physical, one of the most playful yet telling signs is how she uses teasing and flirtation. It's not about being overtly sexual. In fact, most of the time, it's incredibly subtle. But if you're paying attention, you'll realize she's not just playing around. She's probing. She's testing the waters to see how you'll respond. Flirtatious teasing is often a soft and safe way to build tension. It lets her explore the possibility of intimacy without fully committing to saying it out loud. And the reason this is so effective is because it wraps curiosity and attraction in humor. It gives her room to express interest in a way that feels casual and fun. But underneath it all, she's watching you closely. She's reading your reactions. She's figuring out if there's chemistry there, if you can handle her energy, if you get her vibe. Now, this kind of teasing isn't mean or mocking. It's light, it's quick, it's often personal, but in a way that makes you feel seen rather than judged. Maybe she makes fun of how seriously you take your gym routine, or she laughs about how picky you are with your food, or maybe she challenges you, says something like, "I bet you say that to all the girls," with a little smirk. That's not just a joke. That's layered. That's her way of saying, "I see you, and I want to see how you respond when I play with the line." In these moments, it's not the words themselves that matter. It's the tone. It's the smile that follows, the glint in her eyes, the playful nudge to your ego. She's not trying to offend you. She's inviting you to flirt back. That back and forth rhythm is like verbal foreplay. It builds a connection that feels exciting, a little risky but safe enough to enjoy. It's her way of saying, "Let's see if this could go somewhere." One of the most important things to understand here is that women often use humor as a shield, but also as a doorway. A joke can disguise nervousness, sure, but it can also mask a deeper interest. When she starts adding a little spice to her comments, when her teasing starts leaning into flirtation, especially with subtle sexual undertones, she's seeing how far you'll go. She might not be saying she wants to sleep with you outright, but she's bringing the idea into the room without naming it directly. And sometimes the clues are even softer. She might say something like, "You're trouble, aren't you?" Or, "I shouldn't be talking to you this late." Those statements sound innocent, but let's be honest, there's nothing innocent about them. They're invitations wrapped in play. She's not just making a statement. She's offering you a chance to pick up on the vibe and respond in kind. What's really interesting is how this kind of teasing shifts when the attraction is physical. It becomes more charged. It's less about general banter and more about playing with tension. She might challenge your masculinity a little. Say things like, "You think you could handle me?" Or, "Bet you're not as smooth as you think you are." And here's the thing. She wants to be proven wrong. Or right. But either way, she's playing that game because she likes how it feels. She likes how you make her feel. And your response in those moments matters. If you're too stiff, too serious, or too unsure, the energy dies. But if you can match her wit, stay relaxed, smile through it, and flirt back without being too aggressive, that's when things start to shift. That's when the teasing becomes tension, and the tension becomes attraction. What many men miss is that this playful teasing is often her version of taking the lead, without making it obvious. Because society doesn't always make it easy for women to express sexual interest directly, many rely on these layered, playful, indirect cues, and if you ignore them, she'll take it as a sign that you're either not interested or not ready. But when you do catch it, when you smile and give her just enough back to keep that banter going, something unlocks. That space between you starts to warm up. The conversation becomes less about information and more about energy. And that's where intimacy starts. Right there in the subtext, in the teasing, in the way she dares you to flirt and doesn't pull away when you do. So don't brush off the playful jabs, the sarcastic comments, or the mock challenges. If they're coming with warmth, with smiles, and with a steady gaze, that's not just small talk. That's a green light dressed up like a joke. Have you ever been in a conversation with someone and realized they were moving almost exactly like you? You shift your posture, and a moment later they do the same. You lean in, and suddenly they're leaning in too. It's not something you usually notice right away, but once you catch it, you realize there's a rhythm to it. That's called mirroring, and it's one of the most subtle but powerful signs of connection, especially when a woman is sexually attracted to you. When a woman wants to sleep with you, her body often starts syncing with yours unconsciously. It's not something she's doing on purpose, and that's what makes it so revealing. The human brain is wired for connection, and mirroring is a deep, instinctive way we express affinity and interest. When two people are on the same wavelength, their bodies begin to reflect that alignment, like a dance that neither of you choreographed, but both of you feel. It can start small. Maybe you're sitting across from her at a bar or next to her at a table. You take a sip of your drink, and a few seconds later, so does she. You rest your arm on the table, and suddenly her body shifts slightly to match yours. These are things most people wouldn't consciously copy unless they were truly focused on you. That's the key, focus. When she's drawn to you on a deeper level, her attention is full, and her body reflects it. You'll also notice how she responds to your energy. If you speak softly and lean in, she does too. If you laugh and relax your shoulders, she mirrors that ease. And in more charged moments, if you pause your words and just look at her, you might catch her doing the exact same thing. Matching your pause, holding that gaze, sitting in the silence with you instead of pulling away from it. That's not just comfort, that's chemistry. And when that kind of synchronization starts to happen naturally, it's a strong signal that she's not just enjoying your company, she's feeling something more. Now, the important thing here is that mirroring isn't always about posture. It shows up in her tone of voice, her pacing, even her expressions. If you're speaking with passion and she starts to speak with more intensity too, that's her adjusting to your frequency. If you're joking and she catches your rhythm, adds to your punchlines, or laughs just a bit too long, it's not just about the joke, it's about you. It's about the fact that she's tuned in and she's aligning herself with you emotionally and physically. This kind of mirroring becomes especially meaningful in closer, more private settings. Imagine the two of you sitting on a couch. You shift to face her a bit more directly, and slowly she does the same. You cross your leg, and after a moment, hers crosses too. It's almost like watching a reflection that has a slight delay. It's subtle, but when repeated, it creates a shared rhythm between your bodies. That rhythm is more than just coincidence. It's intimacy forming in real time. And here's something that often surprises people. Mirroring is also about breathing. When you're truly locked in with someone, your breathing can actually sync up. It's one of those primal signs that attraction is taking over. If she's sitting close, relaxed, and you find yourselves breathing in similar patterns, it's not imagination. It's a sign her body is aligning with yours in ways neither of you are forcing. Of course, this kind of synchronization doesn't happen with everyone. That's what makes it so noticeable when it does. When a woman starts unconsciously mirroring you, she's letting her guard down. She's no longer filtering everything through logic and control. She's present. She's responsive. She's attuned to how your body feels next to hers, how your energy affects her own. And that level of attunement is almost always a precursor to physical connection. But you have to be paying attention. Most men are so caught up in what to say next that they miss what her body is already saying. If you slow down, become a little more mindful, and observe, not in a calculated way, but in a grounded, relaxed presence, you'll start to notice those signs, and once you see them, you can respond. Not by copying her back, but by staying in that space, staying present, and allowing that shared rhythm to deepen. Because when a woman is mirroring you, especially in close, quiet, charged spaces, it means she's emotionally open and physically comfortable. She's already leaning toward the idea of being with you, even if she hasn't said a word about it. And once her body has said yes, everything else just becomes a matter of timing. There's a noticeable shift that happens when a woman is drawn to you on a deeper, more intimate level. It's not always loud or dramatic. It's often quiet, intentional, and subtle. One of the clearest signs that a woman is thinking about something more than just a casual interaction is the way she starts making herself more available to you. I'm not talking about availability in the sense of just answering your texts or showing up when you invite her somewhere. I'm talking about emotional availability, mental availability, and time availability. Because when a woman wants to sleep with you, she'll find ways to insert herself into your life, ways that make it easy for connection to happen without it ever feeling forced. Let's be honest, most women have busy lives. They have schedules, responsibilities, friends, and boundaries. So if she's clearing space in her life for you, that matters. If she suddenly has time late at night to talk, if she stays out a little longer than planned just because she's with you, if she seems to always be free when you ask, those aren't coincidences. That's intention. That's her saying, you matter to me enough that I'm willing to rearrange parts of my world just to be in your presence. And when a woman is making herself available like that, especially in the evening or in more private settings, she's not just being polite. She's choosing you. But it goes deeper than just logistics. Pay attention to when and how she makes herself available. Does she linger after a hangout instead of rushing off? Does she invite you to spend time together in more intimate or cozy settings? Her apartment, your place, somewhere without the noise of a crowd? That shift in setting isn't just about comfort, it's about privacy. It's about setting the stage for vulnerability, for intimacy, for things to unfold naturally if they're meant to. She knows what kind of spaces allow for deeper connection, and if she's intentionally placing herself in those with you, she's opening that door. There's also the emotional layer to availability. When a woman starts sharing more with you, her thoughts, her fears, her stories, it's because she wants you to see her, not just the surface, but the real her. That kind of openness takes effort and courage. It means she's starting to trust you. And where there's emotional trust, there's often physical readiness. The two go hand in hand. She's not just showing up with her time, she's showing up with her whole self. What's fascinating is that this availability often increases with subtle escalation. Maybe at first she was only free once a week, but then it turns into twice, then 3 times, and suddenly she's initiating more. She's the one sending a message late in the evening saying, "Hey, what are you up to?" or "I was just thinking about you." That's not just random, that's her expressing interest and giving you the window to step in. That's her saying, "I'm open, I'm curious, I want more." You'll also notice this shift in how she responds to your suggestions. If you mention doing something spontaneous, grabbing a drink, going for a walk, meeting up just to talk, and she says yes quickly and easily, that ease is a signal. It shows she's not just passively letting things happen, she's actively creating the space for something to happen. She's giving permission, even if it's nonverbal. Her yes isn't just about the activity, it's about you. And let's not forget about the energy she brings when she's around you. When a woman is available in that deeper way, her presence changes. She's not distracted, she's engaged. She's leaning into the moment. Her phone stays in her bag. Her attention is fully on you. That kind of focus is rare, and it's incredibly telling, because when someone is really available, it's not just about their schedule, it's about how present they are in the time they give you. Of course, some men miss these signs because they're waiting for a woman to say something directly. But most of the time, women communicate their readiness through behavior. And if you're paying attention, you'll notice that making herself available, emotionally, mentally, and physically, is one of the clearest ways a woman expresses desire without ever having to say it out loud. So when she starts showing up more, staying later, inviting you in closer, or making time for you when she easily could have said she was busy, understand what's really happening. That's not convenience. That's choice. And that choice speaks volumes. There's a particular kind of silence that's not awkward at all. It's thick with tension, filled with glances, laced with something that neither of you has said out loud, but both of you feel. When a woman wants to sleep with you, one of the most undeniable signs is sexual tension. You can feel it in the pauses between your words. You can see it in her eyes when she holds your gaze just a second longer than necessary. And you can sense it in your own body too, because attraction is a two-way street, and tension only builds when it's matched. Sexual tension isn't just about desire, it's about the unspoken. It's that energy that hangs in the air when you're sitting close and everything feels charged, even if the conversation is about the most mundane topic. It's that flutter of electricity when her leg brushes yours under the table and neither of you moves away. It's the moment when your hands accidentally touch and there's a beat, a breath, where neither of you pulls back right away. That beat is everything. That's where the spark lives. It shows up in the way she looks at you, not just looking, watching. Her eyes don't just skim over your face, they study it. She lets her gaze drop to your mouth while you're speaking, then quickly back up, almost like she didn't mean to. But she did. That kind of look is loaded. It says more than words ever could. It's curiosity, it's interest, it's the beginning of a what if. And sometimes it's not even in the look, it's in the stillness. A woman who's feeling that kind of tension with you won't fidget or look around the room for distractions. She'll be still, focused, completely present. That's when you know she's feeling something real. Her attention is wrapped around you, and in those quiet seconds where your eyes lock or the conversation slows, everything in her body is saying, I'm here, I'm open, I'm waiting to see what happens next. You'll feel the tension in her voice too. It softens. Her sentences get slower, drawn out. She might laugh a little more, not because what you said was hilarious, but because laughter is a release. It helps diffuse the tension she's building up just by being near you. And when a woman wants to be near you in that way, her entire vibe changes. She's warmer, softer. She might touch her neck, play with her hair, or gently touch your arm while talking. All those movements, those small, almost involuntary gestures, are her body processing the attraction that's growing underneath the surface. What's important to remember is that this kind of tension doesn't usually explode all at once. It builds, it lingers, it grows stronger in those moments where things almost happen, like when the two of you are saying goodbye and you hug, but linger just a moment longer than usual, or